the Australian defence is equally flimsy, but Stephen Jones leads Wales onto the pitch. It's a wonderful November day, and everyone is in fine form and fine voice for a match which promises much.
Yes, everyone's excited about this. As Jerry said, you know, it's the most dangerous backline in the world, I feel. Rodgers, Larkham, they will attack a lot wider, and it's going to be a big defensive effort from the Welsh midfield. But you know, like I said earlier, Wales very strong at the moment. All players are back in full fitness. Everyone to pick from, so competition is great within the regions, which is always good for the Welsh coach. But very exciting game. Anything could happen here, and will they want an open, expansive game? The Australians, yes, if their pack is getting mullered. But there again, you know, I think they'll have worked on that, and it won't be as much of a pushover as they were last autumn.
Shots of the new Australian captain Phil Waugh, about to lead his team into the anthem. Little dots of gold in a sea of red. We could almost be back in 2005. Catherine Jenkins became the unofficial mascot of Wales in that wonderful campaign. And the only two Welsh players who weren't part of that Grand Slam success are both amongst the forwards. Hooker Matthew Rees and lock Ian Evans experiencing this intoxicating atmosphere in Cardiff on a big match day for the first time. Number 8 Ryan Jones is reacquainting himself with it for the first time in 18 months. He's thrilled to be fit again, as are a number of Wales dashing backs. Kevin Morgan, Gareth Thomas and Tom Shanklin bring a familiar looking solidity. New captain Stephen Jones reforms that potent partnership with Dwayne Peel. Australia's front row was shoved up and down St Mary Street a year ago. This time Al Baxter, Ty McIsaac and the giant Rodney Blake, the man they call Rodzilla, are charged with providing some stability. With George Gregan watching on at home and Sterling Mortlock injured, Phil Waugh skippers his country for the very first time. So much talk all week about the composition of this Wallaby backline. So many familiar names slotted into unfamiliar positions. Only fullback Chris Latham and wings Clyde Rathbone and Cameron Shepherd have been given job descriptions they might recognise. Wales plans to have an extra prop. Chris Horseman on the bench have been frustrated by red tape, so they have flanker Gavin Thomas instead. Cannon, Chisholm and Gerrard bring experience to an otherwise inexperienced Aussie bench. The law will be laid down in an exclusively Kiwi accent. Referee Steve Walsh will be helped out by Paul Honus and Bryce Lawrence. Kelvin Deeker has the zapper for any video replays we might need. An intriguing autumn series then set to get underway. First up, the Invesco Perpetual Series, Wales against Australia. And if talk in these parts of Wales starting to challenge for the World Cup is to carry substance, then these are exactly the kind of matches they know they're expected to win.
A perfect day for rugby. You know, it's just magnificent arena. What an atmosphere. And off we go.
And Ryan Jones gets his grateful hands on the ball back in a Welsh side. So reassuring for that Welsh back row. An absolute star in 2005. All those injuries, the shoulder problems behind him. And here goes Chris Latham, another wonderfully consistent season for the Queenslander. Taken by Stephen Larkham in that unfamiliar position of inside centre. So many players getting used to a different geography. Not this one. Wayne Peel, for my money, the best scrum half in the world at the moment, clearing for Wales.
I think that shows intent, doesn't it? Chris Latham takes the ball, you know, looks to beat the first man. It'll be a very interesting game between Phil Waugh and Martin Williams.
First line out. Ty McIsaac, the Western Force hooker, will throw in, and that man Ian Evans will try and disrupt. Just his third cap, a first home test. He's 6'8", and he will try and frustrate as much as possible. Australia managed to hang on to the ball somehow. Matt Rogers at fly half inside to the giant Wycliffe Palu.
Good tackle, good tackle.
Picked
Henson
up by Gitto, finds Larkham. Larkham needs to be careful not to get too involved in those situations. He used to being a couple more metres infield as Wales try and slow down possession. Gitto waits, finds Matt Rogers acting as fly half in 10. It's interesting to see Rogers and Larkham splitting. They offer two options. Here's Gitto to Larkham, wide ball outside, and it creates space, and this is a terrific start for Australia. Two wingers combining Rathbone and Shepherd, and it's all very tight, and that's the Welsh line.
good defence.
Last feet, mate, come back here.
The swiftness of the passing, though, has created this situation. Lottie Takiri, scragged by the fullback Kevin Morgan. It's still coming back on the Wallaby side. Gitto, Wales inside. The penalty will come. Rogers and Wycliffe Palu couldn't get his mitts on the ball, but will come back for the penalty. And an early signal of intent from Australia, and John Colony watching on with interest.
What a great ball by Larkham. They'll be happy to take 3.
13 red.
Wales
Side.
happy to get away with 3.
Post.
What a lovely ball, Larkham.
Posts.
And this is why they've played him there. Just watch this. Holds and holds and holds. Takes 4 men out wide. And it's good defence. Shane Williams, Kevin Morgan, good communication. But they keep the ball alive. Offside in midfield. They'll go for the 3 points. But that's what he's there for. You know, it's not rocket science. The Australians, you know, big shocks for picking Larkham there. The New Zealanders have been doing it for years, you know. You want a second 5'8", which Larkham is. Talented player, maybe one of the best passers of the ball in the game, so why not use him a little bit wider?
There's almost a sense, isn't there, that number 12 is the new number 10. They offer the same kind of options, and
there's only one number 10, son. That'll always be the position.
Oh, you mean verbally?
Have a vested interest in this, Jonathan. The only number 9 that matters at the moment is this man, Matt Gitto.
It just, you know, 12 gives 10s options, you know, a better kicking game, more vision, more width.
Some booing that we could do without, quite honestly, but it doesn't worry Matt Gitto in front of the posts, and reward for Australia's ambitious opening. They lead by 3 points to nil in the opening minutes here in Cardiff.
Again, lovely ball. Look at that pass. Good defence, good communication. But again, who's there? War.
These two teams are going to get to know each other very well over the next 10 months. A couple of test matches in Sydney and Brisbane set up for the summer. Then Australia back here in the World Cup. Both teams in Pool B next year. Morgan
Come back. Yep.
hoists high.
Watch it.
Taken in by Latham. Rogers inside his own 22.
Nearly got to it, Gethin Jenkins. Great kick though.
Under pressure, he still found terrific distance, Nat Rogers. Rare outing at fly half for him, but a terrific footballer.
There's been a lot said about you know, the number 9 and Matt Giteau, but you know, it's a big ask for him to step up into this level. But he's played scrum half from the age of 8 to 19, so he knows about the position. Just see how he adapts today. Wales have got to put pressure on him and stop that link between 9 and 10.
Rogers to Keary, one of those in an unfamiliar position of outside centre, but he created havoc here a year ago in the 13 shirt, and this is Rocky Elson, who is a granite of a back row forward. He will play the game right on the edge of legality. Cameron Shepherd, the ball went forward. Yes, it's interesting talking about Matt Giteau, because even George Gregan, who'll be watching this back home, has wondered whether it will be his best position. Does it give him the opportunity to fizz around as he does in the wide outside? But only time will tell in this match.
Yeah, good angle of the pass there, slightly forward. Yeah, I'm sure that George Gregan will be there in the World Cup. I'm sure he will be. Whether he'll be first choice will depend on how Giteau goes today.
Straight down.
But at the
Head and
moment,
shoulders
Nick,
going down.
they look very dangerous. Not only the backs are hitting good angles,
Head and shoulders
but
on the hit, and
also,
we'll just move over this way for you.
you know, all the loose forwards are as well.
Let's watch
Hold,
this scrum.
don't preempt, crouch and
Is
hold.
there any more solidity
Yeah, mate.
amongst the Wallabies? It was a real struggle for them a year ago. It's not been that much better during the Tri-Nations.
It's not too good under here, eh? Yeah, well, you come this way then, boys. Have problems. Slow it down, crouch and hold.
Steve Walsh suggests that we might have problems with this scrum. Front rows messing around with each other, and finally it's picked up off the base by Ryan Jones. Welcome return to a red shirt for the first time since that Grand Slam clincher. And it's a welcome back to Gareth Thomas as well. Just 3 short now of Gareth Llewellyn's Welsh cap record. This is his 89th cap after all the problems of earlier in the year. And here goes Jones, head down. They missed his thrust through the centre, Ryan Jones, for all the fizz out wide. Jones did so much good work muscularly, but the ball was not forward there, and Gareth Thomas will be brought back. First test since skippering the side against Scotland. It seems a long time ago now.
Yeah, does you see what Shane Williams was trying to do there? Trying to get his hands through the tackle. Trying to get his hand, loose hand, free look. Ball cut in hand. Rathbone gets in. Something's happened here. Hang on a second.
Let's have a listen to what Steve Walsh has to say.
Sharp.
Captain, come here, please.
It'll be sharp, isn't it?
Feet on body, away from the ball. Okay. Penalty only. No feet on players, okay? We know what the directives come down, and make sure you're going for the ball and only touch the ball. Okay?
He's a very, very lucky man, because the directive that's come down from the International Rugby Board, the game's governing body, is that any feet on body, particularly on knees and ankles, will carry a big, big punishment now. Yellow card, perhaps red card, and that's what Steve Walsh was talking about as he had a word there with Nathan Sharp.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see what happens, because if you're rucking in a forward motion, it's going to be very difficult for referees to determine what's going on, you know.
John Connolly with His hand on the shoulder of Michael Foley. The two men have tried to restructure the Australian scrum, but from the line out Wales and Gavin Henson are giving it a blow. This is Kevin Morgan, runs straight into Cameron Shepherd, brought to the floor by the new winger. Peel inside to John Thomas. Needs Swansea Osprey, who's had limited opportunities for his region, but he wins the penalty there.
Yeah, Blake didn't roll away. Rodney Blake. Yeah, takes the ball in, good defence. Blake makes a tackle, and there he is, look. Stephen Jones goes in, stamps on him. The roles reversed there, wasn't it?
Such a tough call, but you really have no time. Once the tackle's been made, you've got to roll away, and he was blocking the ball, making its way back towards the red side, and that's the reason why Stephen Jones has this opportunity to square things up. Passed 500 points in his last outing against the French. Has the first 3 points this afternoon. We played 8.5 minutes. They've both been in each other's 22 once, and they both have 3 points. Wales 3, Australia 3.
Yeah, first time into the Australians' half, coming back with 3 points.
Australia. Gareth Jenkins on the left, team manager Alan Phillips on the right, shielding their eyes against the sunshine, which isn't bothering the players. The pitch entirely in shade. It's been another lovely November day. Perfect conditions. Peel waits to feed Jones. Yes, Australia back at the venue of one of their greatest triumphs. Remember, they lifted the World Cup here in 1999. Joe Roth down on the touchline for us will remember that day, and a real sense that the clock is starting to tick louder and louder for them before next year's tournament. Been saying they will be back here in September 2007, and the coaches watching on in the stands are looking for clues as to that likely starting 15. What role will Matt Rogers have to play as he takes that tap penalty quickly and immediately challenges the Welsh defence? Gitto, half break, well tackled by Adam Jones, and it was important because Gitto was almost away. Ball slowed down. Blake making sure that it comes back on the gold side. Nathan Sharp to Larkham to Takiri. Caused so much havoc a year ago. Gitto picked up by Dan Vickerman.
Gotta go right, yeah.
Gitto does go right. Finds Nathan Sharp. Blake again there, rucking away Martin Williams. Cameron Sharp, the sense that that ball was forward as well. Gitto plugging away with Larkham, big gap, and the number 8 Wycliffe Palu charges through.
Kevin Morgan.
That's the line though. The gap was enormous and Palu strolled through it. There they go again.
Numbers on the right. They've got to shuffle. They've got to put some men on the right.
Still, though, they persist with the bludgeon in the pack.
Yeah, the forwards have got that white line fever at the moment. They've got numbers on the right.
Gitto goes on the blind side. Not sure that was the right option. Matt Rogers hopes it might be, and he turns it into the right option as he slips the ball inside to Cameron Shepherd. Not the easiest route to the try line, but they have got there, and the first try goes to the Wallabies and to the new boy Cameron Shepherd.
Well, the width on the passing, playing flat rugby, superb at the moment, absolutely superb. Look at that ball. There's another ball, 2 balls, no communication in the defensive line. Ian Evans comes in, great tackle, desperate tackles. They could have gone either way. They had numbers, and again, hands-free, 3 men in the tackle. They have to stop the ball. If you're committing more than 1 man to the tackle, they'll have to close the ball down. But they look so dangerous, Nick, with the ball in hand.
Just his second test start, made his debut against England back in June, and Cameron Shepherd was at the end of a very tasty link.
just looking at the amount of tackles made. Wales have made 25 tackles, Australia have made 8. So that just says it all, 25 tackles, Wales.
Ghetto has made an explosive start from scrum half, directing affairs, picking up the ball, looking for the options, challenging the defence, and he has this conversion. No win to speak of. Sterling Mortlock kicks during the Tri-Nations, but Matt Giteau is no bad replacement. The try has a conversion to go with it.
Well, they have to get some ball now.
Wales 3, Australia 10. It's been a breathtaking start to the match. Stephen Jones restarts.
Yeah, look, 64% possession for Australia. Territory is 84%. Says it all really so far in the game.
Palu to the fullback, Chris Latham, winning his 69th cap today. The player of the year was Latham. There he is, and he won it by a country mile this year as well.
I think he's been the best fullback in the world for the last couple of seasons.
This is Matthew Rees, the Llanelli Scarlet, winning just his 3rd cap. Does well. Wales with Peel and Jones trying to release Tom Shanklin. First test for a year and a half after a knee injury for Shanklin. That was lateral from Peel.
Look at it, they're not committing many players to the ruck, the Australians. Just watch them now. Look at them, one in the ruck. Look at the line-up there. Knock on. It's going to be very, very difficult beating this defensive system the Australians have got by using a wide ball. They'll have to pick up and carry. The forwards will have to carry. Just watch, one in the ruck, stays there, loses control in the contact. There's only 1 or 2 competing for the ball there. The rest are out there in the defensive line.
Crouch and hold. Engage.
15 minutes gone. Wales 3, Australia 10. And the scrum continues to test the referee.
On engagement and bind. Fraction closer, you two. Fraction closer. Crouch and hold.
Gethin Jenkins, Matthew Rees and Adam Jones against Al Baxter, Ty McIsaac and Rodney Blake, and it's that Wallaby front row, and in particular Rodney Blake, who's been accused of collapsing the scrum.
Yeah, he said don't go down, go straight.
Well, then this is an interesting moment. Gavin Henson taking...
There he is, maybe the best kicker the world has ever seen. Neil Jenkins. Gavin Henson. Secondary kicker, if it's Stephen Jones thinks he's a little bit too far out, give it to a man who's got the distance.
It's what Scott Johnson used to call the lottery kick. Kind of kick he kicked against England. It doesn't really matter if he misses because it's a long way out, but he just might get it.
Got it.
He wins the lottery. A second penalty for Wales, a monster from Gavin Henson, and he's narrowed the gap to 4. And a little indication there maybe of why Henson is playing at 12, not necessarily for kicks like that, but for his overall kicking game, Jonathan.
Yeah, we all know what he's got, but he's just got to do it, and he's got that in his armory, hasn't he? He's a massive kicker, off the floor, out the hand.
It's important that Wales will want to play their open game from the right positions as well today. I think it's a lesson that maybe they learnt last season, that they tried to run the ball from everywhere in possible situations, and Henson will try and put them in those situations as the match wears on. As it is, it's his penalty that brings them back in it, but the ball was stolen by Matt Rogers. He burgled it from Gareth Thomas, and then Stephen Jones burgled it back. Henson again with the big kick.
Chase has got to be good here. They're all back. Look how quick they're back. There's 4 Australian players there now. Look at the counter-attack.
Latham weighs up his option, goes himself, gets the bounce. Wonderful play from Latham. Now the support needs to be there. It's with the skipper, Phil Waugh. The Welsh defence is back quickly. But this position was established by Chris Latham.
Again, if they go left, they got numbers. Matty Rogers, here we go.
They've got the penalty if they need it. Rocky Elson to Shefford, the try scorer. Slipped. He had Rogers outside. There he is. And the ball was knocked on, so we'll come back for the Elliott penalty. But while we were talking about Chris Latham and the consistency, but also the brilliance there to set that position up.
Well, the chase. Watch Gito, he's going, he's in.
Gito's going quickly, he scored!
You could see it from here, I saw it 20 yards away, no one watched him, he was going, the gap was there. You can't switch off at this level.
It doesn't matter what number he has on his back, 9, 10 or 12, he fizzes, and he fizzed here.
He comes, everyone turns his back and he's away. There he is, look, slightly injured, turns his back, comes from distant, taps and goes.
Never turn your back on the danger, and Tom Shanklin paid the price. Well, they've been full of ideas, Australia, full of ambition. And we wondered how this man would go at 9, and so far it has been going spectacularly well, doing the things that he's always done, but just from the scrum half position.
He's a class act, isn't he? And having played in that position for many of his younger days. Strike.
Terrific conversion from a very difficult angle for Matt Gito. His try, his conversion. And Australia are pulling away. Wales 16, Wales 6, Australia 17. Now Joe Roth is watching pitch side. What's going on, Joe? It's been a terrific start for Matt Gito.
It has been. It's a wonderful start, a great opportunistic try from Matt Gito, but it shows the intentions of the Australian side, that Gito's running from halfback. He's got a lot of running loose forwards coming off him, and the intentions to run the ball have been very clear.
Cleared into touch by the fullback Chris Latham. Joe Roth handed the shirts to the Aussies a little earlier.
Just watch Gito, right? Just watch it now, right? The ball goes to him there. Just watch. Just keep it going. All of a sudden, he starts running, spots the gap. Just watch him go. Ball in hand, go. Tap, the gap opens up for him, easy. How? You can't switch off. These are...
There you go, Ridge!
Taken into the tackle by Ian Goff, but he hung on to the ball, he was isolated.
Holding on.
Right, 20 minutes gone now, right? Wales have got to get the ball, keep the ball, because Australians are just walking it at the moment.
Close to this. Here's your mark here.
They've opted to go for the penalty.
Shot, yeah.
And the way Gito has played the first quarter, you would expect him to slot this.
Coffey goes in, Blake, here we are, and Waugh's there. That's a referee's interpretation, but he's certainly there, no support. Look at the tackles, look at this. Wales have made 30 tackles, Australia 14. Possession, territory. This is where stats, unfortunately for Wales, says the story.
Yes, they've been hustled out of it so far. And the hustler in chief has been that man, the man with the surf boy looks, who's trying to ride a skateboard today. Change of position. Surf boy to skater boy. Doing it very well.
Song there somewhere.
See if his kick has the legs. Just, I think, but it drifted wide anyway, so it didn't matter. But
you know, if that's where Mortlock would step up and take it, you know.
Sterling Mortlock injured. He'll be fit for next weekend's game against Italy in Rome. Hearing down below, by the way, that Wales might be about to make a significant substitution. We're hearing that Stephen Jones could be about to come off, but we'll save that for a moment because this is Tom Shanklin on the burst, the Cardiff Blue. Hearing that Stephen Jones might have a knee problem. We'll keep a very close eye on that. The ball was knocked forward. It is just not happening for Wales at the moment. It was knocked on by Ryan Jones.
Time off.
And here comes the change.
That's fine. It'll be Martin
Big,
Williams.
big change, you know.
James Hook is on. And, well, not the way Stephen Jones would have wanted to leave the pitch, leading Wales for the first time full-time. James Hook is on, the Neath Swansea Osprey. Can play fly half or centre. This is just his third cap, and, well, what a miserable afternoon for Stephen Jones, an afternoon which promised so much, and he's off within the first quarter of the match.
Well, it's a big autumn and also a big season, so if you've got any doubts...
Front rows, you're making it difficult for me, and you're making me going to have to make a judgment,
Take
okay,
him
about
off.
who goes in first. Yep. Crouch and
This
hold.
day of his rugby career, Gareth Jenkins was saying earlier, it's turning into one of the most testing days of his career as well, because they've had to reshuffle, see how they line up. We assume that James Hook might just go straight into the centre. They have had some options as well, but this is terrific stuff from Australia. Little chip forward by Chris Latham, looking for Cameron Shepherd, but a bit too much on the ball. But you cannot take your eyes off Australia at the moment, and I think that's the point that Gareth Thomas is making forcibly.
What a great ball again. Just watch. Taking it in. Dummy runner. What an angle by Takiri. Great angle. Opens up the gap for Latham. Good defence by Wales. Now it's a big test for Henson and Hook now. You know, they've got to try and grab this game with a scruff of the neck.
He's taken over the captaincy, Gareth Thomas. A big 60 minutes ahead for young James Hook. Larkham cuts inside. Gitto picked up by Palu. On another occasion, Chris Latham couldn't hang on to the ball. We played 25 breathless minutes, much of which has been coloured green and gold. Ball out of the tackle from Martin Williams.
I think he's going to call a block here.
There's obstruction there.
Yeah.
Coming back for the knock on.
There's an obstruction there somewhere. I think it's just like he looks for Shanklin.
Went in behind you, couldn't get it.
Let's have a look at it.
Crouch and hold. Engage. Is that goal going down on
Again,
the
the scrum goes down.
Right.
Steve Walsh is going to get tired
Come
of
here,
this
please.
fairly
Come
shortly,
up.
I would have thought.
Fraction close to goal.
Having a look
Right,
at
down.
Al Baxter and
Down, Reed.
Adam Jones as they
Yeah,
can
I know
be.
that. It's because that's fine.
Well, they've got all the Welsh players now are on the
Crouch
open side. There's
and
no
hold.
blind side
Engage.
going forward. There we are.
Hand in there. There was a hand in there by a red player.
Well,
Step it off. Hand by a red player in the
there's a
front.
hand in there.
Over here, please.
And in the scrum, you
Hand in the scrum.
better use your boot to get it out.
Right.
Yep.
Scrum it. Gold.
There we are. Look, no, this is confidence, isn't it? They wouldn't have asked for a scrum 12 months ago.
Right, are they?
Now, what they've called a scrum here because they've got so
Closer.
much confidence
Goal.
in their back line.
I'll wait
All
for
the
you to
forwards
get
are
down and
tied in,
set.
and they see this as a great attacking platform.
Engage.
All the forwards are tied in. Let's see what they do.
Get it in half.
Got to hold it first.
No, seven.
Some stability there, but Palu had to work hard to get the ball out to Rogers. Back inside from Larkham to Rogers. Those two singing sweetly together at the moment. Penalty coming to Australia. Might get more. Big charge through from Dan Vickerman. Australia are finding enormous gaps in this Welsh defence at the moment. Lottie Takiri to Cameron Shepherd. Back to Clyde Rathbone, who fizzes over the 22. They drive on, the enormous Rodney Blake adding his 20 stones.
Another
penalty coming. Rogers constantly testing the defence. And finally we come back for the penalty, but well, they're running lines that Wales are struggling to answer at the moment.
Yep.
Martin, who's captain
it's
now?
Dan Vickerman, 6'8" skyscraper who set the alarm bells ringing.
What a start.
He's enjoyed perhaps his best season yet.
I've called hands out, you get one dig at it, and then it's all over, okay?
Well, he's explained it, you have one go at it. When the hands are in there, you have one go at it. That's what they say. And once you have a go at it, you leave it go. And the yellow card is not far away. There we are.
He had a couple of digs, didn't he?
Yeah, they do compete for the ball a lot better in Northern Hemisphere. So this is the break again. Gitto takes the ball wide, sucks the defenders in. Sakaro's in space. Oh, what do I do here? Awesome game at the moment, Gitto. Absolutely awesome.
Left footer should be the simpler side for him. Distance, no problem. That's the angle he faces.
Post.
Still danger though. This is Takiri. Welsh defence has to rearrange itself quickly. Blake acting at scrum half. Picked up by Palu. Two of Australia's heftiest operators in tandem. Gitto now to Larkham. Ball flicked inside to Rocky Elsom, who really had to stretch. Terrific athleticism from the blindside flanker. 6-7 metres short. Ball coming back on the Australian side. Latham back inside to the giant Vickerman. The bridge created by McIsaac.
Well, I think there's off the ball into the near.
There's a punch or a hand to the face. Leave him alone.
Well, that was clear enough. Matt Rogers was the player who's been fingered by Steve Walsh, and that's the reason for the Welsh penalty.
That was very lucky, under immense pressure again. And at the moment, I just can't see a way out for Wales here. They haven't had any possession whatsoever. They've made 43 tackles to the Australian 17. They will tire.
And this was silly as well, because it cost Australia a terrific position, Jonathan.
Top of the screen, look, there he is. It's only a little slap. I think it's to Gethin Jenkins, holding him back. A bit of relief now for Wales.
Half an hour gone in Cardiff.
That's fine.
Just feels a little less sunny all ways round. Wales 6, Australia with 2 tries, 17. Martin Williams digs the ball away. This is James Hook, who you're just switching on, is on for Stephen Jones, and that's a wonderful kick from the youngster. James Hook rocketed onto the international scene. He was still an amateur at the start of the year.
There he is, James Hook.
Try-scoring debut off the bench against Argentina, and you may well remember the late conversion against Sale in the Heineken Cup, which won the match a couple of weeks ago, and here he is now.
Look at that. Ball won in opposition 22, none for Wales, 20 for Australia, 6 line breaks, 10 offloads. Look at that start.
Yep.
Incredible start.
Scrum.
Now Stephen Jones has gone off now. Someone has got to grab this game, like I said, with a scruff of the neck. First things first, let's win some possession.
Lockstone, crouch and hold. Gage.
Attacking scrum for Wales.
Hey guys. Guys, we've got quite a bit of blood just on red one. I appreciate that you weren't the same height when we came in. My mistake.
A break because Gavin Jenkins needs to be looked at.
Possession 57% to 43, right? But all of that has been in the Welsh half, nearly all of it. You know, defence has been stretched to the limit.
Wales have been in the wars.
Yeah, let's try. Got to stop the offload. That's one try. 3-man the tackle. Gets the ball away.
Scored by Cameron Shepherd.
Yeah, and then Gitto comes out the shot. Pace, try. Special player, this guy. Special player. Waiting to get on, Duncan Jones.
Yes, unlucky to be dropped to the bench. He skippered Wales to Argentina over the summer. Let's go down to the touchline. Graham Thomas is there. What can you tell us, Graham?
Well, Stephen Jones has just come back and sat on the bench, Nick. The news is he's got a twisted knee, so we're not quite sure how serious that is. But I suppose the good news is that he's able to have walked back down the tunnel and sat amongst the replacements.
He's back home after a couple of years in France with Clermont-Auvergne. Has been enjoying himself back home right up to that point. Been in terrific form for the Scarlets, and there's some rearranging because he's now off. Peel digs for the ball. It's picked up by Ryan Jones off the base of that scrum. They need a determined response here. Will they get it? Hook outside to Henson. Big tackle. But look at this for an opportunity. Morgan inside to Wales. Oh, that is a response for Wales. And for the first time, the new coach is off his seat. And so are 75,000 others. What a response.
That is the response they wanted. No possession, no field position. When they get the chance, that's what they can do. A great backline move, superbly finished. Just watch the dummy run and the pass. There's a dummy run. Great angle. Pass and a lovely inside ball, and he scores. There's the ball, boom. Big hit to Keary. But good angle, Shanklin. Inside ball by Williams. Great try that is. Great response.
James Hook with the conversion. The other bit of good news for Wales is that Gavin Henson is back on his feet, having been castled by Lottie Takiri in the middle of that move. Now then, can he do to Australia what he did to Sale? He can.
Lovely kick.
Terrific kick. Terrific kick from young James Hook. And that's much better for Wales. Here's the try.
Watch this, lovely ball. First the dummy run, Gareth Thomas holds. That's the ball. Shanklin gets the ball. Brilliant, brilliant try. Good hands by Henson. No space, no time. Henson takes and gives the ball, and that creates the try.
Wales 13, Australia 17. 5 minutes to half-time. This is a terrific start to the autumn series.
They needed that as well. They've been on the ropes. He's offside.
Peel to Hook. Matt Rogers got on the bus several stops too early. And what will please Wales so much is that having made the line break, having made the opportunity, they finished it off, because one of their own criticisms last season was that I think only New Zealand made more breaks through the defence, but I think Welsh conversion rates were something around 35%, which was not good enough, and they will have loved the way they finished off that move.
The important thing on this game would have been they haven't been in the game. for about 34 minutes. They've defended, they've been stretched, they've been cut, but yet again, it's a great move. Look, that's the ball, to take and give, good angle, and then Williams reads it and scores. That's a great try, a superb try so far.
Good awareness from Morgan, aware of where Williams was. And the blood is up in Cardiff, up to halfway. Look at this. Martin Williams takes it on. Now Peel releases the backs. Hook. This is Thomas. This is Morgan again with Williams outside. Takes on Takiri and Rathbone combined, which perhaps was not the brightest idea, but so much more invention from Wales. There's Kevin Morgan over his injury problems. There's Thomas with the ball to Morgan, who stepped inside, but Takiri so strong, usually on the wing, but using his strength in the centre, and here he is showing us what he can do with the boots. One of those rugby league converts, Jonathan Lotte Takiri, who really has made the grade.
Yeah, special player, winger, centre. Can play anywhere, big and strong and quick.
Playing his first match today since being banned for a spear tackle on Richie McCaw at the tail end of the Tri-Nations. The ban ran out on Thursday, and here he is back in the green and gold today. Wales doing well to win the line-out. This is Hook, the replacement. Finds Gavin Henson, cuts back inside, takes on Larkham. Still going Henson. Oh, it's a different game.
You've got to be offside. That's offside, that is.
Williams to Williams, back collecting from forward. Shane Williams goes to ground. Peel back to Hook. Head up, steps around Rogers, who makes the tackle. This is Tom Shanklin.
Just patience now. Keep the ball.
2.5 minutes to half-time. Henson. Ball inside to the hooker, Matthew Rees. This is so much better. Taken on by Ian Evans.
I'm not sure if he meant that pass, but it was a clever one.
Henson waits, feeds Peel. Hook again to Shane Williams, coming into midfield, looking for work, taken on by Kevin Morgan. Wales battering away just outside the 22. It's a penalty to Wales. They'll have the kick at goal, and the noise will tell you what the locals think about that.
Take the kick, 38 minutes on the clock, take the 3 points. 1 point behind when they were out of the game. Superb response by Wales, taking the game to the Australians.
It's been a characterful response, hasn't it? They really have responded in the depths of despair. They've somehow hauled themselves right back into this match.
Well, 2 different games, you know. First 30 minutes, the last maybe 8 minutes.
They wouldn't have planned to bring on James Hook for Stephen Jones at any point, I suspect, during this match, but well, he has done very well since coming on.
Yeah, but that's all down to possession. Possession, you know, it's a lot easier playing 10 at international level when you're going forward with the ball, rather than being on the back foot trying to defend people like Larkham and Takiri and Rathbone.
Here he is, with the opportunity to cut the gap to a solitary point. One minute to go to the break, 1 point in the match. Wales 16, Australia 17, and the belief is back.
Well, who'd have thought? I said I didn't think I could see a way back. Certainly changed that, carried the ball, kept possession, and very good creativity as well. Superb game, first half of rugby this.
Well, one of the messages in the week leading up to this match was be bold, be adventurous. Ryan Jones was saying we can't go into our shells, we mustn't be afraid, and almost for the first 20 minutes that was the problem, but Wales have discovered themselves and Australia now know they're in a match, and we are bearing down on the half-time oranges.
Came out, didn't they? Out of the blocks, the Australians. Superb.
Plenty to be positive for both sides at half-time in the end.
Well, always thought it had the ingredients of to be a great match. Off straight.
Cannon is on as a replacement hooker for the Wallabies. Coming on for Ty McIsaac. And that will do.
Great first half, mega rugby, fantastic. I felt the Australians, first 30 minutes, were blistering. Everything they did came off good angles, but what a response, came off the ropes. And now what a game we have, and I'm sure Gareth Jenkins will be a lot happier with the last 10 minutes of that first half. Everything to play for in the second half. You know, Wales just to get more, you know, possession. That's all they need. But what a great first half.
Yep, breathless start to an autumn of rugby union. Half-time, Wales 16, Australia 17.
Yes, please, can every single match over the next 4 weeks be as good as this? From the first kickoff, so much innovation that the Australians put into this game. Behind the scrum, in the scrum, I mean, one or two of their line-outs were extraordinary, and yet Wales, having been completely overrun in the first half hour, suddenly find themselves within 1 point at the break. Some beautiful handling in the back division. The Australians have got so much ability there, but Wales had a lot of guts, despite the fact that they turned their back at a key moment and let Giteau go in and score. But Wales have really come back with a vengeance. They scored an absolutely fantastic try, despite the fact that Stephen Jones got taken off injured. And this was Wales, as we kind of imagine Welsh back play. Great little cut pass there, and Shane Williams, as he did last year, scoring a crucial try. So this is what we're left with after those first 40 minutes. When you look at the fact that Australia could have been 20 points to 6 up at one point when Giteau's penalty hit a post, you realise that for Wales to be just 1 point adrift at the break, well, they will be almost, I suspect, happier than Australia at the halfway interval. Let's get an Australian perspective on everything from Joe Roth.
Thanks, John. Well, Joe, extraordinary half. Do Wales have to take all the credit for the comeback, or did the Wallabies get a little complacent, do you feel?
No, I think Wales can take a lot of credit for that comeback. That every time they came into the Australian half, which seemed to be only a few times, they converted it into points. Australia enjoyed a wealth of possession and territory in that match, and for it to be a one-point ball game at the end of 40 minutes, it's really hanging in the balance.
You enjoyed the first half an hour, and especially some of the patterns that the Aussies were creating early on.
I thought it was very exciting. It was one of the most exciting halves of football I think Australia have played in a long time. Combinations were working. Steve Larkham, as a ball-playing 12, was able to distribute to wider to Latham and the wingers, and Giteau running from halfback. There were some really exciting signs there, but it's going to be very interesting to see if they can hold it together against a Wales side that's starting to build some momentum.
That's right. Are you concerned then that the pressure came on? They conceded a lot of points when Wales did put the pressure on.
It is a bit of a concern. I think this next 10 minutes after the half-time will be very interesting. It's you know, for Wales to come into Australia's 22 one time and to score one try in that time is a worrying sign. But there'll be a resilience there. I can see that the Australian team believe in what they're doing. You can see that in the way that they're playing with a great intention and enthusiasm. So it's going to be a very interesting half, this next one.
Let's hope it's as good. Thanks, Joe.
So here are the facts and the figures of that first 40 minutes. I mean, perhaps most interesting, Wales actually having more possession than Australia, but the vast majority of that was actually in their own 22, or at least certainly in their own half. And it wasn't until the last 10 minutes, 12 minutes, they actually had possession in an attacking position. And I suppose we spent so much of the build-up to this game talking about where the Australians were picking some of their most famous players, one of which was Stephen Larkham playing in the centre, but he kind of played there today as though he'd played there forever.
Yeah, he hasn't quite always been in that number 12 slot. He snuck back into his old position of number 10, which you kind of expect because it's difficult to change immediately. But what we're seeing of Australia, which I think people who've watched them for a number of years, and Joe Roth alluded to it there, and he's a guy who played for him a lot of times, won a World Cup, that they've always had the talent out in the backs and they've never used it. They've been restricted for some reason, whether it's game ploy, you know, playing rugby by numbers, by we'll do this phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase, and that's what we're going to do. Right now, Scott Johnson's jiggled it all up and said, right, there you go, guys. When you get the ball, play how you want to play what you see in front of you, and that's the best way Australia can play.
They're almost playing sevens on occasions, weren't they? It's found great to watch.
I think it looks like that because we're not used to seeing Australia play like that, but now we see the talent. They're athletes, those guys. I mean, Larkham, Takiri in the centre, they're massive blokes with great athleticism. So to give them the ball in space and attack you know, the Welsh is great to see, and I bet they're enjoying it.
Let's talk about Stephen Larkham specifically, and so a couple of these missed passes that create so much space on the outside.
Well, yeah, he's a great footballer with great vision, and because he plays at fly half, he's got the ability to look at the defence and wipe them out. We talk about a wide ball being the wrong move a lot of the times, but there it was the right time because the Welsh defence was bunched and it was never going to drift on to the attacking Australians coming through. So at the right time, at the right place, that wide, flat, hard ball is perfect. But far too often we see it because we think the players think that they need to do it, and that just brings the defence on. But Larkham plays right front, flat in the face, and you've got no chance of defending that quick, hard ball.
And we can see him do it again as well, because that actually led to the first try, didn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant again. They don't mess around, the Australians. What they do is what they do, and they do it very well. The ball's coming out, and Gitto runs across, and Larkham there. We can see the Welsh defence is very, very tight. We number them all pretty close together. You know, 5 of them marking 3 players. It's no good, and that flat ball, Wycliffe Palu comes through that middle, and he's taking the ball up, and that pretty much sets up the try after a couple more phases. But Larkham was so good in spotting that vision, and then it was just left again to Rogers to fool a couple of the Welsh guys, pop that ball out, and Cameron Shepherd sneaking over for the try. But initially, that all stemmed from Larkham's vision, putting people away.
Michael, at this stage of the game, when it looked like Australia were almost happy to just throw the ball around willy-nilly, confident that the forwards were giving them the ball to do it, how worried were you then?
Yeah, it was a little bit worrying because obviously Wales hadn't had the ball, but I think that was good as well because Wales hadn't had the ball, hadn't had any territory, but every time they've been up in the Australian half, they managed to get some points, which is crucial. And I think at 17-6 it was on a knife edge, but Wales managed to get the next score, and then they've scored a cracking try at the end now, and they've got a lot of confidence going into the second half.
Because that first 20 minutes was extraordinary in many ways, because if you were looking to look at in advance of this game, you would have said Australia have good backs, but how much ball are they going to get? You would never have imagined that they would have deprived Wales of so much first phase ball, would you?
Yeah, I think in fairness, I think the line-up has been quite even. I think both sides have won their ball, but I think Australia have used the ball really well, and Wales were using the ball and getting turned over a little bit, which would be disappointing for us. But Australia kept the ball really well, and they were going through 6 or 7 phases and really stretching their defence.
We talk about Chris Latham a lot. Every time Australia play, we talk about him as one of those sort of complete players, don't we?
He's an unsung hero, and he's got great ability of taking the ball back. Henson misses touch. Latham picks it up, and initially the fence looks really good. It's a flat line. There's no real getting through that. The only way is what Latham does. He kicks it. Now, when that ball lands, it could go anywhere. It could go left, it could go right, it could kind of go straight on. It's really in the laps of the gods where that ball's going to go. But where does it go? Straight up into his hands, and away he goes. And that bravery in attack led to a couple more phases. And here we see Gitto, quick tap. Shanklin's turned his back. You can't turn your back on world-class players. You can't turn your back on any players. And he's through. And, you know, it didn't matter if he had 9 on his shirt or 12 on his shirt. He was going to score.
Very harsh to say this, Michael, but is that try down to Tom Shanklin?
Oh, I don't know whether he was injured or he had a bump, so I think he was thinking about that, and I think it's just everyone, sometimes you assume that it's going to be a slowly taken penalty, but fair play to Gitto. That's great opportunism, and it's a tremendous individual try.
Now, you must have loved the Welsh try, because it was as good as anything we've seen here in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it was absolutely superb. I think it was just it was a great play by the backs. And I think Henson's hands made it. He gave really good hands under a lot of pressure from Takiri, and it was a cracking finish. I mean, like they were saying in the comments, it was really important we finish those breaks off, and we did that today, which has just got us right back in the game.
I suppose the key thing is, Jerry, that if you get such limited possession, when you do get chances, you've got to take them.
Yeah, we see the first time he run, but this is the one that makes it crucial. Morgan goes on a run on the outside that takes the Australian defence, and Shanklin comes on such a tight, great angle because Henson's going to get walloped and he's through. But even here, you think the Australians have got it covered, but great handling between Morgan and Williams, and it's just great execution. It's what we've seen during the, we saw through the Grand Slam season, particularly against France, away from home. Were Wales able to come back? Because Jonathan in commentary was going, I can't see a way back here, but within 15 minutes, they're 1 point away.
Matt Gitto was the man we talked about before the game. Let's talk about him now at the halfway stage. I mean, he's had a huge influence on the game.
That was his first attempt at breaking through, you know, the guard defences there of Wales. But, I mean, the guy's a footballer, he's alert, he's capable of anything from anywhere. I think that was simple. I mean, for someone of his calibre, that was easy. You might as well have blindfolded the defence and ask him to go through. His kicking has been not too bad. He's a bit unlucky with that one that hit the post, and that could have been the changing point for Australia. In fact, as you said, from 17-6 to 26, would Wales have come back? They probably would have because of the way they've been playing rugby. But at the moment, him playing at number 9 seems to have paid off.
OK, well, the gamble certainly seems to be something that the Australians will have been happy with at the moment. We'll give you the latest Premiership football scores in just a second, but before that, our Sport Academy, we're going to see more of Jerry in a second, because our Sport Academy offers you a chance to get some top international rugby stars to come to your school. Watch this and find out.
Is your rugby team leaking tries right, left and centre?
Hi, I'm Jerry Gescott.
Well, help is at hand.
I'm here with my old mucker.
The BBC Sport Academy is running a competition to win a training session with former England stars Brian Moore and Jeremy Guscott. All you need to do is tell us why Brian and Jerry should visit your team. We've got the coaches. All we need now is the team. For all the information on how to win the training session of a lifetime, log on to the BBC Sport Academy website, bbc.co.uk/Sport Academy.
So there we have it.
Cut you off in your prime there, Jerry. Anyway, there we go, BBC Sport or /Sport Academy. And just to remind you, as if you need a reminding, surely, England against the All Blacks is live from Twickenham. That's 3 o'clock on BBC One tomorrow. And at this early stage, I must just, before we go to the Premiership scores, no, we'll do that now straight away. Let's go to the Premiership football scores. The earlier game today saw Fulham beat Everton by 1-0. Klaus Jensen scored the goal there. But the main debating point there is going to be the fact that he was hit by a coin, apparently, thrown by some of the Everton fans during the course of that match, which could lead to an FA inquiry. So that's a final score from Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Everton 0. Not many goals elsewhere. Bolton 0, Wigan 0. Charlton 0, Man City 0. Liverpool lead Reading by 1-0. I'm not quite sure who scored that, actually. If anyone tell me? No? Manchester United's 2 goals. Saha with a penalty, and then Ronaldo, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. Dirk Kuyt got the goal for Liverpool. That's just happened in the last couple of moments. Liverpool 1, Reading 0. And Watford 1, Middlesbrough 0. Buaza after 6 minutes. And in Scotland, the only goal so far gives Falkirk a 1-goal lead against Dunfermline. Well, we've got the teams back on the field. Michael, just a quick word. Optimistic, given what's happened?
Yeah, definitely. I think we just got to get a bit more territory and a bit more possession, and we can cause a lot of damage.
OK, well, as we've all been saying, let's hope the second half almost is half as good as the first, because it was riveting and compelling. Let's go back to Nick.
Yes, it was a wonderful start to this Invesco Perpetual Autumn Series. Neither side has made a break at half-time. Both of them forced into them in the first half, though. That man, James Hook, coming on for Wales. New captain Stephen Jones, who, as we've been hearing, has twisted his knee. And just before half-time, the Wallabies changing their hookers. Ty McIsaac has gone to be replaced by Brendan Cannon. Great to see Cannon back after all of his injury problems. And great to see a match which has been wonderful so far back underway. It's taken by the new Australian captain, Phil Waugh. Captain today with Mortlock injured and George Gregan watching on, resting up before the World Cup back home. And the man who's now captaining Wales in the absence of Stephen Jones on the pitch just shepherds that ball into touch. Gareth Thomas moving back to Wales next season. Lots of talk that he'll be moving back to Cardiff. That story will be one that will unfold over the next few months, but he's had a couple of seasons with Toulouse. He's loved it there, extended his rugby education, but it's time to come back home. Ball taken in by Ian Goff. Fell out of fashion during the Hansen years, didn't he, Ian Goff? But he's seemingly one of the first names on the team sheet now, with Brent Cobain injured and now suspended.
Yeah, he knows what, everyone knows what he brings to the side. Does it week in, week out for Newport Dragons. And of course, as you said,
Hook with the big kick. This is Takiri, goes on the burst, takes on Hook. Oh, that's some tackle. Lottie Takiri doesn't have that done to him very often, and James Hook dumped the big Aussie on his backside. Useful position there for
ball, chance to go,
Wales,
chance to go.
Now they can go.
Oh.
Big wide pass from Williams, just took the momentum out of the mood, but Thomas tries to inject some back into it, and Rodney Blake made absolutely no attempt to get out of the way. He doesn't have to, and it's the long way round.
That was a penalty. Steve Walsh got that wrong.
Rogers picked up by Vickerman, Dan Vickerman.
Push, guys, push.
Minor shoulder surgery before the tour, but fit to start today. Larkham cuts back inside, and this is the other lock
That's a
forward.
great late
Nathan
switch.
Sharp, lovely stuff. Picked up by Latham. Crowd still buzzing about Rodney Blake on Gareth Thomas. Maybe we'll see that once this breaks down, as Clyde Rathbone can't get his hands on the ball. Pressurised by Shane Williams. But for half a second, Wales eyed long-distance glory.
You see someone?
Yeah, I think...
Time off. Injury, red.
Some tackle on Takiri that set up the move. This is one that James Hook will enjoy watching over and over again. Wallop.
Good tackle. This is the penalty. I think the referee had that wrong. He had no intention of doing anything else. And fair play to Rodney Blake. Sometimes
The eyes gave it away. He was looking over his right shoulder, trying to work out where Thomas was, and he's not obliged to move out of the way, and it is a long way round to go around the 20-stone Rodney Blake, but Welsh grievance there. Welsh line out here, well taken in by Ian Goff. The line outs work well. This is Martin Williams, who was standing off it. Terrifically well for the Cardiff Blues so far this season, and Henson with the kick. Safe enough as Rogers charged him down.
just sliced it a little bit.
Thinking that he hasn't used the boot out of hand much so far in this match, but he hasn't really had the opportunity. They've been on the back foot for so long, and I guess the plan to find field position with Henson pinging the ball around was rather difficult when you were defending so hard in that opening 20 minutes, but maybe we'll see a little more in this second half. Flicked off the top of the line out by Nathan Sharp. Plays for the new Western Force province in Australia. There's Takiri. Some concern back home that he might be going back to rugby league after the World Cup. They're digging deep into their pockets to try and keep him in Union. Talk of a £500,000 contract a year on the table, and this is someone who is going back to league. Matt Rogers chips the ball through, but Wales were alert, and Ryan Jones, the scavenger on the floor, wins it back for his country. James Hook delicately needs the bounce. Oh, he got the
Lovely
bounce.
kick. Well, he's controlling the game very effectively at the moment. There's the little grubber. Just loses control a little bit. This is the strike. Oof. Couldn't be closer, could it?
And an opportunity for Wales and the likes of Ian Evans to challenge the Australian line-out. It's been a while since Wales have had this option, but he's 6'8". You can see him, number 5 at the back, and now he has the chance to go, but actually he gave Nathan Sharp the easy ride and make sure that the defence is right as Australia try to get the rolling maul on.
This is where they should try and put a bit of pressure on Matt Gitto, you know. Put pressure on his service, you know. Close, that's it, and close the kicker down.
So, Latham off his left foot, who gets the ball away. He'll be very happy with that. Takes play from behind his own dead ball line up towards the halfway. Only David Campese has scored more tries for Australia, 33. Campese will tell you that he's a long way behind, but as the guys were saying in the studio at half-time, Latham's such an important part of this Wallaby team.
It's over.
Line out on halfway, taken by Jonathan Thomas, who does add an option in the line out. He's the professor of the calls, works hard all week to make sure that they work for Wales, and he took it there. Dwayne Peel.
Well, I thought Dwayne Peel thought it was a penalty.
Matthew Rees drives the ball to the floor. The Llanelli Scarlets hooker just picked Rees Thomas for the starting point. May well see Rees Thomas as the match wears on. Another kick from James Hook. Ball bounces into touch. If it hadn't, then Shane Williams may well have cottoned onto it. Well, we're starting for the first time in a Wales shirt. James Hook on the tour to Argentina over the summer. And He's done very, very well as he's taken his first stride in an international shirt at home. There's Thomas. He's also been working on the Aussie line-out, trying to work out where it's going to go, and on that occasion it went right to the back into Dan Vickerman, and the boot takes the ball deep into Welsh territory. Kevin Morgan. Ball bounces.
Good chase is crucial, yeah.
Latham with the kick. Morgan's out of position, so Dwayne Peel has to go back. This is Shanklin.
Left peg.
Nothing wrong with that. First test for a year and a half after the knee injury. So missed last season during the Six Nations. Again, not a spectacular player, but one of those players who you suddenly realise how much he's worth when he's not there. With the throw. He's back after a neck injury. So many of these players back and enjoying themselves, like Rocky Elton. Ball knocked on by Wycliffe Palu, and now an opportunity for Wales. Turnover ball. Henson to Shanklin, puts boot to ball.
Someone just had to straighten up there.
This is Shepherd. Goes crossfield. That is an aimless kick. Gathered in by Ryan Jones. Trickled backwards, so we're allowed to continue. Up to the 10-metre line. Peel thinks about the dart, and then he's shackled by Elsom.
Tackle.
Come on, side. Six, come here.
Henson. That's high. That's a monstrous kick.
Let's see the bounce.
If it bounces into touch, it would be wonderful, but it bounces up into the grateful arms of Latham.
Some tired players on our park now. The ball's been in play for a long time. Let's see what happens. Let's attack.
This is Morgan, who does just that. Inside to Shane Williams, shows and goes and finds Henson. Matthew Rees, the hooker, to Thomas. That's halfway. Peel. Oh, terrific control from Williams. For once, the pass from Peel wasn't the best. Wales need to work hard here. Australia are digging for it.
Australia ball. No, Wales have got it.
Just enough, and as the ball came across.
Just a bit bunched now, Wales.
Hands off, goal!
Just slightly bunched. Got to keep the shape a little bit.
Jonathan Thomas over the 10-metre line. Held up by Phil Waugh. Close quarter action here, pummeling away at each other. Hook to Williams, who's coming in field more and more, and he goes. Now is the bounce kind? It's not bad. It's hooked on, and Tom Shanklin is charging it down. And look at Chris Latham, aware of the danger. Australian defence was alert.
Yeah, Larkham took him out. Larkham took Shane Williams out.
Shane Williams also picked up, lifted off the horizontal, and then landed on the ground, dropped onto the ground, not driven.
Okay, so it's a penalty.
Yes.
So this is penalty advantage here.
Yes.
Now, who was the number that picked them up?
Matt Gitto.
Right. I'll talk to two players.
So Bryce Lawrence issuing the instructions to Steve Walsh, and he reckons it was Matt Gitto.
Yeah, there was kind of a spear tackle.
We got two offences
but Larkham is the man.
First one was Matt Gitto, number 9, picking up a player, getting him above the horizontal and not bringing him down gently, close to a spear tackle, but without the driving into the ground. Second one was, my ruling was against 12. After he had kicked it, he stepped out of alignment and then made sure the guy couldn't chase through without being hit, okay? If he stands still, there's no problems. Once he moves, there's an issue.
Not sure there are going to be any cards. Wales will have to content themselves with the penalty. Well, let's have another look at this, Jonathan.
Lovely play by Shane Williams. Spots the flat line. The bounce favours him. I thought he might have caught that, but it's a penalty, nothing else.
It's not a card.
Not really. It's a penalty. You know, Wales go in front. The advantage is there, isn't it? I don't think it was a yellow card, personally.
And at the end of all that, what a moment for James Hook. On as a replacement for the new Welsh captain, now with the opportunity to give Wales, for the first time this afternoon, the lead against Australia.
Got it.
Wales are ahead. Wales are ahead. 50 minutes gone. The comeback's not complete yet. There's still half an hour to go. But the view on the bench is looking much, much rosier. Wales 19, Australia 17, and this is the penalty.
The bounce favours Shane here. I thought, will he catch it? Puts the kick in. Yeah, just leans into it. It's not a yellow card. Still a lot to play, but now Wales started the second half a lot better.
Now, which way is this going? And that's a great take by Ian Evans. Real prospect. 22-year-old, 6'8". Just what Wales wanted. They've taken the lead, calm things down, gather the restart, start to re-pressurise, and the take that time was by Latham on halfway. Ball comes back to Gitto. This is Larkham in that unfamiliar position of inside centre. And this is the man who's just given Wales the lead, Hook. Oh, you could see the look on his face. Got that wrong.
Yeah, just rushed, and he caught the ball in the 22. Should have just wellied into touch. Once he came out of his 22.
Come down.
They'll all be happy now. McBride, Phillips and Jenkins.
You'll be free kick. Throw it in. Play on.
It's a great take, that is. Good tackle.
Brendan, get it in, please.
Play on. It's play on. The fullback is injured. He's soon up on his feet. That's what they should do with football.
There are lots of things they could do with football. Not back-chatting to the referee is one of them, and it's one of the things that they're trying to cut out at the moment as Australia again win ball from the line out, but it's all very loose, and Shepherd loses out. Henson nonchalantly inside to Tom Shanklin. Williams inside, needs to create some magic though, because there are lots of gold shirts there. Hook to Peel, to Henson in front of him, picked up by Jonathan Thomas, who is having a big 5 minutes right up to the point he knocked the ball forward.
It's a great tackle, that is. A great tackle by Waugh there. Stripped the ball off Jonathan Thomas as they were going down. Look at this, they're shoveling it on, shoveling the poor ball on. There's a knock on, Henson takes it. There's the take, the give. I think Larkham is still down.
What I spoke about. Starts again. Starts again, okay?
Seems to have won his battle with George Smith for the time being for the open side flanker shirt. It strikes me that one man who will be watching this with interest is the man who's brought some attacking style to those two teams, walking out of shot, unlike Scott Johnson, to be shy of publicity, but maybe it's the collar and tie that he's unhappy with. But Scott Johnson has played such a part, it seems, with both of these teams over the last couple of years. It's only 9 months since he was in charge of Wales against France at the end of the Six Nations. Very odd emotions for Scott Johnson today.
Early engagement, early engagement.
Picked up by Palu.
Oh, nearly a steal.
Play on, play on.
Certainly getting to them now, aren't they? Certainly getting to Gitto. Contesting the tackle area.
Here's to Keary. Runs around the tackle of Matthew Rees and then falls over. This is Larkham. Larkham going tackled by Gethin Jenkins. He's thrilled to be back in the starting lineup after all of his injuries.
Well, defence is superb now for Wales.
Not quite the ride it was in the first 20 minutes for Matt Giteau.
No, they're also getting the Larker, they're also getting to Latham, they're also getting to Kiri, and the thing is, these boys haven't played for a while, have they? So they will tire.
Wycliffe Palu is off. Plenty back home who see him as the long-term replacement at 8, and Stephen Hoyles in the white head cap there, the ACT back rower, is on to win his 3rd cap. Driven on by Nathan Sharp, playing his 23rd consecutive test. There's Giteau, finds Matt Rogers. Takiri offered the decoy run as Rathbone came in, but it fell loose. And this is Shanklin, kicks the ball forward. Morgan running on. Morgan beats the speed of Matt Rogers. He seemed to be impeded. The ball's still loose. Martin Williams, if he gathers, will score. Yes! He scored. Wales alive. Martin Williams with the chase and the try and the smile on the face of the skipper and a whole country.
Well, Larkham was injured, Matt Rogers was struggling to get back, and as I said, I just feel that they haven't played for a while and they've seen a run out of petrol. Gets the kick in, watch the chase. Kevin Morgan sees Larkham struggling, Rogers is struggling, they hold him back. That's a clumsy fall, a real clumsy fall. Who's there first? Always there, Martin Williams.
Well, he's feeling fit and fresh after a first summer off for 8 years, he was saying this week. He's had an energetic, purposeful start to the season with the Cardiff Blues. And it's a try-scoring start to the season with his country.
And if I see, I think they keep this tempo up now, keep it going. As I said, they haven't played many games, Australia, and they will tire. Lack of match fitness. Wales will come strong in the latter stages.
Conversion for Hook. And this to take Wales more than a converted try clear. He is kicking wonderfully. Neil Jenkins, the kicking coach, watching on, will be thrilled, as is everyone in red here.
What a turnaround, what a turnaround. Well, this is it, there's the kick. Larkham wasn't at home because he was injured, tries to stop him.
It's Stephen Hoyles, the man who's only just come on.
That's a clumsy fall, and who's there? Martin Williams. What a try. There's the reaction. Nigel Davis.
I think they enjoyed it. Hard to tell, really. Usual reserve in the coach's pen. Oh, they've loved it, and why not? But do not write off Australia just yet.
It's still 22 minutes left.
Still more than a quarter of the match to go. Josh Valentine, by the way, is on for Larkham at the moment. It's a glove replacement, but this is Matt Giteau. Lottie Takiri hauled down. Wonderful tackle by Williams, but that's the try line. The danger is still there.
Oh, selfish.
Blake, the man they call Rodzilla, can't pile over. Wales need to be alert. Matt Rogers, wonderfully picked up by Shepherd, and he scores. We're going to go to the video replay.
Interesting.
Instinct said he had to score, he had to slide over.
He knows he scored.
Might have been turned on his back, please.
Let's have a look.
Kelvin Deeker is watching outside in the van, Jonathan.
Usually go with a player. If a player thinks he scored, you're 90% there. Let's have a look. He's short there anyway. Let's have a look.
But if he slides over the line, he scores.
Try.
And that's a try.
That's a try.
Do you want to show another replay?
Kelvin Deeker doesn't need a second look. Steve Walsh signals the try, and we were talking about the Australian response. It's emphatic. It's a second try of the match for young Cameron Shepherd, the Western Force winger. Played really, really well, and not many did in Swansea on Wednesday, and won his place in the side on the back of that performance against the Swansea Ospreys, and now he has a couple of tries.
He did, yeah, and he's played a lot better today as well, but for a neutral, what a fantastic game of rugby this is.
Yes, to cut the Welsh lead to 2 points. He does. An hour gone. Wales 26, Australia 24. We have had 50 points, and if we have a match that's anywhere near as good as this over the rest of the international season, we will be thrilled.
There's the watch Gito throws the dummy, and he's through.
Restart taken in by the skipper, Phil Waugh, rallying the troops. They would have been deflated after that Welsh comeback.
There's a superb tackle by Shane Williams on Takiri. They recycle the ball.
Clearance by Latham, inviting Wales and Thomas to operate again from deep. This is the fullback Morgan, who so nearly stopped Shepherd, but not quite. Latham wonderfully positioned. Ball was down his throat. Peel scampers back, finds Ryan Jones, and the touch judge on that far side, the experienced Kiwi Paul Honus.
Was his foot in touch?
Well, Honus seemed to think so.
This could be a big call, this. Foot on the line, he said.
Lady in the hat wasn't sure, was she?
His foot. It's a lovely play once again. No space whatsoever.
Let's have a look. Paul Honus right, or the lady in the hat? Paul Honus was right.
He's right. It's quite, you know, he was going to get it right because he's only looking at the line. That's his job.
Oh, it's been stolen by Elson. Where did he come from? And the tackles needed to be made. And
what a tackle again.
What happened there?
How did he come through the middle of that? We've got Valentine on because of Larkham's gone off. Gitto's in the centre now. He just steals the ball off Matthew Rees and he's away. Odds on he scores. Great play by Matthew Rees. Who's there again? Martin Williams once again. Oh, he's been immense again today.
Didn't so much go around into the back garden as barge his way through the front door though. Rocky Elson. Been all over the place.
Engage! Steady here.
That's a good scrum from Wales.
Great scrum, great scrum.
Gave plenty of time for Ryan Jones to pick up. Deep inside their own 22. Peel will take his time and clear to Shepherd. Has Rathbone outside, who has Takiri outside him, but Rathbone decides that he doesn't need him. The tackle was made by Peel. Dragged into the 22. Gitto switches the play. Inside to Nathan Sharp. This has been some response by Australia. What a tackle from Ian Goff. And he wins the penalty. Well, Roland Phillips, the Welsh defensive coach, will be purring.
Great tackle. That's when a tackle lifts a team. Gets a penalty.
Into the final quarter, 26-24.
There's a tackle, look. I think it's a cut-out pass. Had him lined up.
Move in.
Vickerman hits the deck.
Get it in, otherwise you will be free kicked.
Martin Williams again. Straight in there.
Dan Vickerman used to be 6'8". He's now 3'4". He was cut in half by that tackle. There's been some tenacity in defence from the Welsh over the last 5 minutes as Australia try to respond to the situation they suddenly find themselves in as Dwayne Peel is ushered into touch. Part of the
he is. Roland Phillips.
New Welsh management setup.
Yeah. Go back a long way, Roland. One character. Doing a very good job.
An all-Welsh management set up for the first time in a long time, and a familiar face, Wales record point scorer, Neil Jenkins. This ball stolen at the line out, though, by Stephen Hoyles, and this is Matt Rogers.
These are crucial now. You've got to win your own ball, try and relieve a little bit of pressure, playing the wrong, the other part of the field.
Josh Valentine is on.
I'm very impressed with the 2 second rows, the Australians. They've carried the ball well today.
Valentine playing at scrum half, which means that Gitto has moved out into midfield temporarily.
Larkham's injury has meant they've readjusted.
Last feet, gents. 3, goal.
Shane Williams waits. Morgan. Oh, he needs to hurry up, and he was being chased by Al Baxter. Which way will the ball bounce? It's taken wonderfully by Latham. Trips up the line. Going strong. The players are inside. He doesn't need them. Chris Latham. Oh, that is stunning. The Queenslander Latham runs right through Welsh defence, and the Aussies are back with a bang.
Well, in hindsight, would Kevin Morgan kick the touch? The 2 points in front, you've got to keep it calm. There's the ball, he's got plenty of time to kick or ship it. He kicks the ball, the chase looks good with Peel and Thomas, but what a great player he is. Gets on the outside, cuts inside. There he goes. He's not in the way, Matt Rogers. There he goes again, Latham. Up, inside, Hudson. What a tackle. Ryan Jones, hook, can't get to him. That is a great try. Very similar to Keith Jarrett, actually, against England. Long, long time ago. But sometimes you take the safe option, clear a touch, 2 points in front. Have a bit of structure in the game, play in the right areas of the game, of the park. Unfortunately, now you've got to come back again. Who said this game was over?
Nobody. This is a tough kick though for Matt Gitto. It's the wrong side for a left foot. He needs to cut it across the posts, and it was never going between them.
I really don't like this booing with a kicker. If you watch, the Munster crowd, they have great respect for every goal kicker on the park. Maybe next game, respect the goal kickers. Kevin Morgan looks up.
Well done, Al Baxter, for putting the pressure on.
Yeah. Lovely step again. Brushes the tackle, Ryan Jones scores. Does it all the time, doesn't he?
Taken over his head by Thomas, skippering the side. This is Josh Valentine, who's a terrific little player, Valentine. He is, I guess, ostensibly the Wallabies' 5th choice scrum half these days, with Gregan at home and Cordingley and Sheehan injured. Down to the touchline, Graham Thomas.
Yes, a bit of movement on the Welsh bench, Nick. Looks like Duncan Jones, the prop, is going to come on. Could be for Adam Jones, and that, of course, would mean that Gethin Jenkins would cross over to the tight head. Let's bring in Joe Roth. Joe, how many times over the years have you seen Chris Latham score tries like that for the Wallabies?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. Just some beautiful touch from Chris Latham. The opportunities are starting to come as players are fatiguing in this last 20 minutes for both sides. A few mistakes are being made. There are opportunities there, and you saw Chris Latham there just absolutely capitalise beautifully on one.
3 points in it, it's still anybody's game, isn't it?
Absolutely in the balance, and there will be more opportunities because both sides are still willing to run the ball and create them. So it's going to be a fantastic finish to this match.
As I think, as Joe was suggesting, the final chapter here is a long way from being written. Wales 26, Australia 29 into the final 15 minutes. Both sides talking this week about the desire to close out close matches as well. There's a feeling back in Australia that they haven't done that recently. They had a couple of close games against the All Blacks, a close one against the Springboks in Johannesburg at the end of the Tri-Nations, and this one here last November as well, and they're trying to learn to win these close games. How will this lesson go? Takiri, not great. Straight into touch, he was outside of his 22.
Well, you've got 2 kickers in that back line, and Takiri isn't one of them. So, you've got to get, as I said, when you want to close games down in the last 15, 10 minutes, You have to play in the right areas, and you play the clock down.
3 lineouts lost for Wales, which will annoy Matthew Rees. No more than 3 for the time being, though. This is James Hook. Wonderfully into the line was Thomas, intercepting the ball that was on its way to Henson. Peel waits. This is Thomas. Jonathan Thomas finds Gethin Jenkins, who's showing his versatility now because he's moved over to the tight head side of the scrum. Shanklin, 3 gold shirts hunting him down. Peel to Hook, to Henson, thinks about using the boot, tackled by Valentine. Just between the 10 and the halfway, sorry Daniel.
Just a little bit lateral at the moment. Australian defence doing well.
Now then, some directness added by Matthew Rees, and Duncan Jones, who's just come on, couldn't gather the pass, but here he is, finds Shanklin, little chip ahead around Matt Rogers, and not for the first time, Chris Latham doing the hoovering up effectively for the Wallabies.
Such a good player. Seems to do everything right.
Valentine to Shepherd, not the best.
Good pressure, Gethin Jenkins. This is where you want to be. Everyone's out on their feet now. As I said, the All Blacks, you know, they are the best side in the world at the moment. But when it comes to closing games down, you know, they don't panic. They don't chase the game, you know, they play in the right positions and leave the opportunities, you know, come their way.
Okay, Chris Latham's okay. Interesting to see Gethin Jenkins moving across to the tight head. It's one of the reactions to them not being allowed to have Chris Horseman, the Worcester prop, on the bench today. They wanted to have Horseman on because they wanted to have another tight head to really put the pressure to turn the screw on the Wallaby front row at this time of the match, but Horseman not allowed to play because the game falls outside the international window. Worcester were quite happy for him to play, but the Premier clubs gathered round and said, no, you're going to have to hang on, and as a result, Robin McBride and the rest of the coaching team had to do without Horseman, and I think Horseman would have come on at that particular point, and
well, maybe even started, you never know, but like you said, red tape wasn't included, so let's forget about it.
Might make Welsh players think twice about playing in England when contracts are up for grabs, though. It's a serious issue, isn't it, long term? Horseman will be available for the next international against the Pacific Islands here next Saturday, and it's a penalty to Wales. Australia dropping that maul.
Ali Baxter dropping it. Will go for goal.
Al Baxter, normally a tight head, playing at loose head. 1s and 3s all interchanging. Greg Holmes, the usual loose head, nursing a sore neck back home in Brisbane. Now 10 minutes to go. These two have played each other plenty of times since the first match in 1908, but there has never been a draw. And as the locals watch on and wait and wonder, this is a kick to draw the teams level.
I'm a great admirer of Australian sport, but Australia Rugby League lost this morning.
Your point is?
Not going to see both lose.
Need this penalty first.
Good strike.
He's played wonderfully. No one would have wanted Stephen Jones to go off so early with his twisted knee, but James Hook has stepped up to the plate, controlled the game as well as he could, and kicked like a dream, and we're all level. 10 minutes to go at the Millenium Stadium.
That's it, that's the reaction. You see, whether he's on or off, all for the cause. The Welsh result is more important than anything else. And like I said, let's play the game in the right areas now. This game could be won on a mistake, on a penalty, anything like that. So It's a big kick. Good chase as well. Jonathan Thomas is up there. He's had a big game. Dwayne Pearce had a big game.
No chance for Cameron Shepherd to take the quick throw. There is Jonathan Thomas. Limited opportunities with his region, the Nice Swansea Ospreys, so far this season, but he won the coach's vote and he's vindicated that vote. Josh Valentine to Matt Rogers, who's continuing to play at fly half, and he's losing the ball. I think maybe of all the experiments Australia have tried, the experiment with Rogers at 10 has been one of the least successful.
Well, it's very difficult now with with Larkham off the field. Gitto is an inside centre, but they're both left-footers, so it makes it a little bit more uncomfortable. But with Gitto at 9, Larkham at 12. But the biggest factor I think has been the lack of match rugby for the Australians. And the Welsh have just kept on going. That was the first try to bring them back into it. There we are.
Martin Williams with the second.
He's everywhere, isn't he, Martin Williams?
And Australia needed a quick response, and we wondered about their bottle, about their MT, their mental toughness, and
he's such a good player, this guy.
Chris Latham did it single-handedly. Well, to go before you have to name your man of the match, but Latham, I suspect, will be in the frame.
Catch and hold. Engage.
7.5 minutes to go. Ball was knocked forward, taken on by Cameron Shepherd. It's confirmation of that change in the Australian second row. Mark Chisholm, the ACT lock, is on to win his 23rd cap, replacing the giant Dan Vickerman. It's another of the replacements. Valentine to Gitto, who's now playing in the more familiar role of outside centre. Valentine again goes. Scrum half spot up for grabs. George Gregan, the great Gregan, the man in possession but sitting at home, watching and wondering. And well, Matt Rogers has had better games, and that is an important mistake. Wales will have the line out, and it's an attacking line out.
Gives them field position. Idea was good, execution not so good. There's his reaction. Knows it, just put a little bit too much into it. Faded over the touchline.
Now they need to win the line out, and it was an important challenge by Mark Chisholm. Chisholm rising high with Ian Evans, and that's a big turnover from the line out. Rogers again with the kick, Thomas with the gather.
They know where they want to play, the Australians.
Ball was taken in by Nathan Sharp, readjusted his position cleverly. Gitto to Latham. Kevin Morgan. It's about territory now, playing the game in the right area of the pitch to create the opportunities.
There's a mistake.
And he overcooked it.
No. That's another mistake. Matt Rogers got away with his.
Just for the uninitiated, if you're outside your 22, that solid line away to the right, then the ball has to bounce at least once before it goes into touch. Straight into touch, and the opponents get the ball back from where you kicked it. Matt Rogers suffered a minute ago. Kevin Morgan has suffered now, and an important throw for Brendan Cannon. Western Force hooker winning his 41st cap, and that impressive line-out statistic continues. Rogers cuts back inside. Valentine, the replacement scrum half. Nice ball inside to Nathan Sharp, and Australia are running it. And this is Cameron Shepherd breathing down on the hat-trick of tries, and the tackle needed to be made by Kevin Morgan. Less than 5 minutes to go.
Great skills again, good hands. Gito gets the ball away. Latham creates the overlap for Shepherd. Textbook tackle. Textbook tackle. Knuckles not happy. Didn't want him to go into touch. That's what he wanted.
Well, he rectified his own mistake, really, didn't he? He was the man who punched the ball directly into touch, and he was the man with the try-saving tackle.
No, big line out. Hasn't been great the last couple. Needs a good line out.
The nuggety Matthew Rees has to get this right, and he did. He found Ian Goff, who rose highest. Now they have to control the ball. 3.5 minutes to go. The next score will surely win it, if there is to be a next score. It's Australia who are pressing at the moment with the outstanding Chris Latham. Lots and lots of tired bodies out there now, though. Blake creates the ball for Valentine. Shepherd, who's played well, finds Rathbone, bounces off the challenge of Gavin Henson beyond the Welsh 10-metre line.
I haven't seen much of Rathbone, really.
Valentine. Will it be Valentine's Day? This is Matt Rogers. There he is again. Phil Waugh acting as the decoy. Gito back to Sharp. This is great stuff from the Australians. Ball driven on by Stephen Hoyles. Back to Rocky Elsom. Gito. Australia ending the match as they started it. They were the dominant force to begin with. Then Wales forced their way back in, forced their way ahead.
No penalties now.
Now they're going straight through the middle.
Slight obstruction there.
Rogers
is back in the pocket. Oh.
It'll be a scrum to Australia. And they need to guard against the drop goal as well, as you were suggesting, Jonathan. Just over 2 minutes to go, and Wales are not in the area that they want to be.
Yeah, he was back in the pocket, ready to pull the trigger and knock it over. Now, what will they do here? I'm sure they'll go for the offensive play from the scrum. They've got so much ability and the confidence in their own ability. Just watch Rogers. There he is on the 10-metre line. Just watch him, He's sitting back in the pocket. There he is, pointing. Doesn't get the ball back. There's no players around him. He's going to go for the slot. But now...
Reminder that the clock stops for injuries. That time in the top left-hand corner is the real time. Once we get to 80 minutes, that will be that. So there are precisely 2 minutes to go. And it's on a knife edge in Cardiff. Wales 29, Australia 29. The bragging rights for the next 6 months are up for grabs, and that's a good scrum from the Welsh. Oh, that's a terrific scrum.
Great scrum.
Hats off to the 8. That's a match-saving scrum. Gethin Jenkins at tight head.
Scrum.
Duncan Jones at loose. And that belonged to the whole pack. 1.5 minutes to go. Close to finding out who the Invesco Perpetual Man of the Match is. But we still have 60 seconds to go. Is there time for one of these teams to win it? Henson clears the touch. Needs to get some distance. Cameron Shepherd can't control, and well, it looks like it's going to end in a draw, but who's tipped the vote for the man of the match, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's been some great players today. Martin Williams, Jonathan Thomas, Hook. But for me, he's been absolutely spectacular. My Invesco Perpetual Man of the Match, Chris Latham. Everything he's done today has been superb. He's kept them in the game in the second half. He's performed brilliant, but there's so many contenders today. Just had to pick one.
Into the final half a minute. This is the last tilt at glory for the Wallabies. Can Wales hang it on? Matt Gito was using the obstructing runner.
I don't think that was obstruction. Let's have a quick
Scrum.
I don't think that. Let's have a look at it. Interesting decision. One chance. Does he cross? Holds the ball. That's not crossing, is it? Not blocking. So
Stephen
Fortunate
Hoyles.
decision for Wales now. Let's see if they can make the most of it.
This is Hook, needs to get it low and safe. And he's done it beautifully. And that
is there enough time though?
The whistle of Steve Walsh, and the match has finished. Rather anticlimactical end. I'm not sure the players realise that it's over. I think they thought they were going to have one last go from the line out, but time was up. We saw that we passed 80 minutes, the ball went into touch, and the man of the match, Chris Latham, has to settle for a draw.
Well, you know, it's disappointing when it ends in a draw, but fantastic, absolutely fantastic game of rugby. Both sides gave everything, didn't they? And at the end, I think it was a fair result. No one deserved to lose this game. Everyone took their opportunities. Wales came back into the game in the first half, as did Australia in the second half. So it sets it up for the first game of the World Cup back here in Cardiff next year.
Wales have the Pacific Islands here next Saturday. The Australians travel to Rome to play Italy. And the 24th meeting in a series that has stretched back to 1908 has, for the first time in those 98 years, ended in a draw. Wales 29, Australia 29, a fantastic game of rugby.
And you didn't think for one moment that maybe Matt Rogers was going to kick a drop goal in the last 2 or 3 minutes to win the game for Australia, who you may recall in the past, the dim and distant past, have lost the odd game to a drop kick, but that was a fantastic scrum that the Welsh pack put together 2 minutes from time. And I suppose, Jerry, was a draw fair enough in the end?
I think come the end, yeah, both teams seem to be flat out on their feet there, the lungs burning from the exhaustion of the total 80 minutes. And I thought for one moment Wales looked the fitter side, and I thought they were going to just edge it at the end. But, you know, Australians in all sports never say never, and they battled right to the end. I think Australia have turned over a new leaf. I think they realise that they've got talented backs, they've got talented players who can play with ball in hand, and they don't have to be so constructed in their play like dot-to-dot 1-2-3 rugby. And Wales, you know, this is their first game, and that was a great performance. Everybody here has enjoyed the game, both at the stadium and watching at home.
I keep looking at all the players' expressions here. I'm not quite sure who's pleased, Michael. You know, who is moral or sort of who takes most from that game, Wales or Australia, do you think?
I think after such a tremendous match, it's a shame that it ended in a draw. I think the Welsh boys then, you could see, I think they didn't realise that the clock was up, and they'd probably be disappointed that they kicked that ball. They would like to have gone for the win, so I think both teams can be happy with their performance. They've obviously put on a great show today, and I think it's a good building block for the Wales Autumn Series and the Australian Tour.
At 26-17, didn't you think that Wales were in the box seat though, and we're going to go on and win it?
Yeah, definitely, but fair play to Australia. They came back and scored a tremendous try, and Chris Latham's try as well was superb, and he was deserving of another man of match award.
We'll see Chris Latham's try in just a second, but first of all, Shane Williams, you know, irrepressible, always. When he has the ball in hand, you're never quite sure what might happen. And a superb piece of opportunism here.
Yeah, I mean, he's very skillful with ball in hands or just off his feet. And when I first watched this, I thought this was fairly deliberate by Larkin. And I thought that should have been a yellow card, not just a penalty, but a yellow card. But on watching it several times after, I think it was right just to give the penalty. But Shane Williams, he's one of those players that when he does something magical, you love him, but sometimes he's put in a position where it's quite difficult and he's exposed.
Well, there's the trophy, the Invesco trophy, which obviously is going to be presented either to nobody or to 2 people. I suspect to 2 people. Let's go to the presentation now.
Well, Chris, would you please welcome the Invesco Perpetual Man of the Match, Chris Latham.
I wouldn't.
Diolch yn groeso, ysgolwch yn dda i'r ddau captain. Would you also welcome captains Gareth Thomas and Phil Wall.
Congratulations to both of you, Gareth and Phil, if not in winning, but in contributing to a fantastic game. Gareth, first of all, fair result?
What?
Fair result?
Who knows, obviously you want to come out and you want to win games, and at times I thought we were going to win it, at times Australia were looking good to win it. So, you know, you can look at it like that, but, you know, we've got to go down under now for 2 more games before the one that really counts in Australia. So, you know, every time we play Australia, we're improving, they're improving. Hopefully when it comes to the World Cup, it'll be another classic.
Let's bring in Phil Moore. Phil, relieved or a little disappointed?
Very disappointed. I think we started the game how we would like to have played, and we went away from that. But you know, the Welsh punished us for any mistakes we made, so full credit to them.
It was a fantastic game all the way through, nip and tuck. You must have thought at the end there, you were lining up Matt Rogers for a drop goal, perhaps you could sneak it.
Yeah, maybe, but you know, again, we let ourselves down losing the scrum, so just simple things, but we'll go away and work on it.
Phil, thanks very much. Let's bring in the man of the match, Chris Latham. Chris, many congratulations. Did you think you'd won the game with that try?
I didn't think we'd won it, but I was thinking hopefully we were going to. But a very big thanks to all the Aussie supporters that we had out here today. It's awesome, and thanks to the Welsh, we had an awesome time, and you're always a great crowd to play in front of. So thank you. And
as a start to your tour, how does that feel?
To be honest, disappointing. You know, we came over here saying that we wanted to win all 7 games. You know, to come away with a tie, it's it certainly doesn't feel good, but it doesn't feel as disappointing as a loss either. So we just got to go back, have a look at our game individually, and go from there.
Chris, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you.
I suppose this is when the Americans in our audience watching are saying, well, why didn't they just play on until somebody else scored? But still, and of course, a good point that, Michael, you made to me just then was surely Wales retain that trophy in a kind of Ashes kind of way, because as they won it last year, you know, and it finished in a draw, then maybe sort of you've still got it, almost.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Martin Williams, you know, you've played with in the back row on so many occasions. He's an exceptional player, and the try that he scored was classic, always there, sniffing around, looking for opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's Martin's biggest strength, his work rate. He works really hard and he does tremendously well after Wales have been defending for so much of the game to chase a kick like this and get a try. Kevin Morgan also does brilliantly, doesn't he?
Well, he's almost obstructed there, hasn't he? And
yeah,
justice prevails. And look at the skill in this pickup. I mean, any open side, any youngster watching, taking the ball from the ground, he's got his eyes on it and he slides into it, keeps control and scores the try. Perfect.
And the balance of power really had shifted at that point. You know, Wales were in the ascendancy, but they were controlling the game up front. And at that point, you almost felt the Australians in their first game of the tour, they might, if not crumble, they were going to tire, certainly.
Yeah, because of their lack of matches, you thought, well, are they going to be able to stay in or not? And Wales going to carry on. But I think it was I thought the fittest team would actually come through on the end. But it only takes 1 or 2 mistakes for the team to kind of rise with enthusiasm and belief and confidence, and before you know it, you're away. And this is the try that led to the Cameron Shepherd try, and circled Adam Jones there, and Gitto's the one to watch, but the prop Jones has got so much ground to cover, and against Gitto, he got no chance to prop forward against, well, he was playing scrum half today, but a centre, and they get across the gain line with ease, and they get a little bit greedy here, the Australians. There's a few other phases. Bit of a loose pass, but what great hands again. Eye-hand coordination, pick up the ball on the run, on the hoof, and a great score. Concentration, keeping hold of the ball. Real time, it looks like, did he actually make it? But yeah, when you see it in slow motion, he scored easily.
And Michael, you've been sitting here drooling about Chris Latham's performance. You know, if only he was wearing a red jersey, but the try was his reward for a fantastic performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was absolutely superb. I think Kev, it's not a bad kick by Kev, really. He finds space and there's a good chase as well. Then he just beats a man with no space at all. It's fantastic play, and the finish is superb. Ryan Jones is really well to get across here, but he just shows his strength. Chris Latham managing to get to the line, and he was superb today.
And he makes space when no space seems available.
I don't know why he's so underrated, or sometimes he goes amiss, because he's one of those guys, he's like a forward as a back. He's always in the game, he's always making a contribution. His catch, under the high ball, he's brilliant. Coming onto the ball in the back line, he generally gets across the gain line, and he always turns defence into attack on the counter-attack, which is brilliant.
We've shown so many tries, some wonderful attacking rugby, some great patterns of play in the back divisions, but the guys up front can win and lose matches, can't they? And that scrum at the end, where Wales disrupted the Australians, was absolutely key.
Yeah, it was superb. Duncan Jones coming on, he's a really good scrummager, and he attacks them, and fair play to Gethin Jenkins. Being able to move over to the tight end is a big ask, and he's done it tremendously well, and he was outstanding all day, making loads of tackles. But Duncan has done awesome there.
This is really important because the Australians are always whinging about how weak their scrum is, and that just proves how good as scrummaging, Wales are in coming on. But Australia, they want to really compete for the World Cup. They've got to shore up that scrum.
And a final point about one individual on the Welsh side who had a tremendous, 45 minutes or however long it was on the field for, James Hook. Because when Stephen Jones went off, you immediately thought, your immediate reaction was the Welsh captain's off the field, this is a major blow. But he had a great game, didn't he?
He was superb. I remember seeing him play for the under-21s last year, and you could see he was a really talented player. He looks a bit like Gavin Henson, the way he runs and carries the ball and everything, and he's got it all, and he's just got to keep playing like he did today, and he's going to be a big star of the future for Wales.
I've seen him in a couple of games, and for a young man of 21, he's got so much composure. Not only can he make those kicks at important times, 26, 29, he makes the important kicks under that much pressure, but he can play with the ball in hands as well. He's been great at sevens, saw him in the Commonwealth Games, he was fantastic there. Wales' dilemma now is how often can they get him to play in this team, because Stephen Jones is captain, he's a great performer. I think first of all, they've got to look at this guy and not protect him. They've got to throw him in onto the scene and give him matches like this.
Well, I suppose they can play him against the Pacific Islanders next week, can't they?
Ideal.
Yeah, we have to wait and see what team the coaches are going to pick for that game, but I think the Pacific Islanders will pose a big challenge, and it's one to relish.
Well, I gather that 60,000 tickets have been sold already for next week's game against the Pacific Islanders. I don't think these guys are playing, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the ticket line information is 08705 582 582 if you want to contact Ticketmaster, and you can be here at the Millenium Stadium. And on a day like today, I mean, the roof was open today, and it's not often we come here these days and the roof is open, but what a fantastic atmosphere and a game fit for a stadium as well. And the next couple of games, you've got the Pacific Islanders and also Canada. I'm sure it's a chance to sort of rotate, to use the buzzword, some of the players in the squad. But at the same time, it's key to keep winning, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously want to build on today's performance, but I think people are saying about the Pacific Islanders if they're going to be an easy challenge, but it's going to be. I think that's going to be one hell of a game. I think they've played 3 times before against the Tri-Nations teams, and they did really well. So I think next week's going to be a massive challenge for Wales.
OK, well, that's rugby that we have for you next week. We're also at Lansdowne Road for Ireland against Australia, and Ireland's back division isn't too shoddy, is it? So that should be a tremendous game as well. But before all of that, tomorrow we're at Twickenham for England against the All Blacks. And 82,000, the biggest ever crowd at Twickenham, will be there. The opening of the new South Stand. And New Zealand, the best team in the world against the existing world champions. What more could you want? 3 o'clock BBC One tomorrow. Jerry, how do you see that game going?
I can see it going the black way.
Do you really?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
and Michael, wholly impartial here. England against the All Blacks tomorrow, what do you think?
Oh, I think obviously New Zealand are going to start as favourites, but people are writing England off, and they've still got a very good team. I think if they play well tomorrow, they can definitely give New Zealand all the way to go.
Do you really believe that?
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone says about how good New Zealand are, but they are a tremendous side, but they're not unbeatable, and I think hopefully the British side will show that over the next few weeks.
Well, that game's at 3 o'clock tomorrow. That's BBC One on Grandstand, but we have a Grandstand on BBC Two tomorrow that's got highlights of that outstanding result in Australia for Great Britain's Rugby League players, and also the final of the Bowls.
Good afternoon. They've been playing for 98 years, and it's the first ever draw between Wales and Australia. An enthralling game at the Millenium Stadium, but it ends in disappointment.